Welcome to today's Explainer. Okay, let's dive right in. If you're a homeowner in San Diego, you already know our weather is famously perfect. But what's perfect for a weekend at the beach can actually be a silent killer for your property's perimeter. We're looking at some fascinating data today from Fence Pros San Diego, and the most crucial takeaway right off the bat is this. A fence's survival in San Diego depends almost entirely on the exact zip code it sits in. It's all about matching your material to your microclimate. Just 10 to 15 years. Yeah, that's how shockingly fast an untreated wood fence can completely fail if you just throw it up and hope for the best without factoring in your local microclimate. I mean, a decade might sound like a long time, but in the world of home investments, replacing a fence that quickly is a massive, unnecessary drain on your wallet. All right, let's establish our baseline with Section 1, San Diego's fence lifespans. So, we need to look at the hard numbers for different materials specifically in the San Diego area. We're throwing national averages out the window here because our unique environment changes everything. Looking at this data dump, the gap in longevity is just huge. You can see cedar and redwood sitting at a respectable 20 to 30 years, if they're maintained, of course. Vinyl holds its own at 20 to 30 plus years with very little upkeep, but look at the heavy hitters. Aluminum dominates the metals at 25 to 40 plus years, and masonry block walls, they can easily surpass half a century. Down at the bottom of the scale, you've got standard pressure-treated pine and galvanized chain link checking in at around 15 to 20 years. But hold on a second, because we really need to pause here. This is the crucial point. The real swing factor isn't the material spec sheet. It's exactly where the fence sits. You can't just buy premium aluminum or cedar, plop it down anywhere in the county, and expect those maximum lifespans. No way. The numbers from our table shift drastically depending on whether your property is catching the ocean breeze or baking out inland. Which brings us to Section 2, the coastal salt air threat. It is a completely different world for building materials west of the 5. If you live in one of these coastal danger zones, places like La Jolla, Encinitas, Coronado, Ocean Beach, or Point Loma, you are on the front lines. In these specific neighborhoods, the marine layer is just relentless. It rolls in and deposits a corrosive layer of salt on absolutely every exposed surface, practically every single day. Obviously, it's a gorgeous place to live, but it is an absolute torture chamber for standard fencing materials. Because of this persistent moisture and salt, the air corrodes untreated metal and wood unbelievably fast. You might think a galvanized chain link fence is tough, right? Well, here it breaks down and rusts noticeably sooner than it would inland. And standard screws? They'll literally be crying rust down your fence boards in just a few seasons. Even highly rot-resistant woods like cedar break down way faster near the beach because that salty, wet air accelerates the actual breakdown of the wood fibers. So, what actually survives this coastal gauntlet? Your absolute winners are aluminum, vinyl, and stainless hardware. Aluminum is the top-performing metal option near the water simply because it doesn't rust. It's a real game changer. Vinyl asks for almost nothing in return but an occasional wash. But remember, your fence is only as strong as its weakest screw. You absolutely must pair these materials with stainless steel or hot-dip galvanized hardware. In these zip codes, your hardware choice often matters even more than the fence material itself. Okay, moving on to Section 3, inland heat and termites. If we travel just a few miles east, we face a totally different set of enemies. Welcome to the inland danger zones. We're talking East and North County areas like Poway, Escondido, Santee, and El Cajon. Out here, you aren't fighting marine moisture. Instead, your primary threats are intense ultraviolet radiation, baking heat, and really dry, expansive soils like decomposed granite and clay. Oh, and we definitely can't forget the Santa Ana winds, putting massive lateral force on tall privacy panels. Let's look at this comparison to really build a picture of these two distinct battlegrounds. On the one hand, the coastal threat, salt air, rust, and persistent moisture. On the other hand, the inland threat, intense UV baking, subterranean termites, and dry soil. This direct contrast clearly illustrates why a material that thrives out in Poway might fail early in Coronado, and vice versa. You have to build for the enemy you're actually fighting. Digging a little deeper into those inland threats, the intense direct sun out there literally breaks down the lignin. That's the natural glue holding wood fibers together. That's exactly what causes your wooden boards to turn gray, crack, and splinter well before they structurally fail. It also makes lower-grade vinyl super brittle over a few hot summers. And then there are the termites. While termites are pretty much everywhere in the county, the dry inland climate is absolutely perfect for subterranean termites. They love nothing more than building little mud tubes up from the dry soil directly into your ground contact wood posts. It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet for them. Let's pivot to Section 4, maximizing your fence's life. So let's get into some practical zero-fluff advice. How do we actually extend a fence's lifespan regardless of which San Diego zip code you call home? Well, here are 3 structural moves that add the most years to a fence's life. Step 1. Use metal brackets or pour proper concrete footings with a gap above the dirt. Why? Because posts almost always fail before the boards do, especially right at the ground line where moisture and termites strike. Step 2. Keep your wood boards completely off the ground. Don't let them touch. And step 3. Stick to a sealing schedule for wood or a rust control schedule for wrought iron. Catching a small issue early is always cheaper than a full replacement. And hey, don't forget this crucial detail. Gate hardware takes the most abuse out of any part of your fence. Think about it. They're the only moving components on the entire structure. Every time you open, close, or slam that gate, the hardware takes a hit. I highly recommend doing a quick seasonal inspection. Check your hinges and latches, look for early rust or loose screws, and just tighten them up. Finally, let's talk about Section 5, when to finally replace. What happens when that yearly maintenance isn't quite enough anymore? It's the ultimate question every homeowner eventually faces. Do I repair this, or do I bite the bullet and replace it? A fence can often look perfectly fine from the sidewalk, but actually be completely structurally compromised on the inside. So how do you really know when it's time to pull the plug? Well, here's your definitive checklist. You've officially crossed from repair territory into replacement territory when you see failing posts, visibly leaning sections, soft or crumbling wood at the base, or rust that has spread deep past the surface metal. The absolute key indicator here is the posts, because posts are the structural core of the entire fence. Digging them out and resetting them usually costs nearly as much as a brand new rebuild. Once the posts are gone, the whole shebang is gone. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question to ask yourself today. Is your fence material actually built for your specific San Diego microclimate, or is it already living on borrowed time? Take a walk around your yard this weekend. Evaluate your specific threats. Is it salt? Is it UV? Is it termites? And make sure that your next perimeter investment is a smart, localized one. Thanks for joining me to break this all down, and happy inspecting.